Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Mr. Locario, the bad boy of the dating game. What's good? So, in this audio slash video, right, I want to talk about why, certain guys get confused in the dating game. They get confused about what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and all this other stuff, right? Because I've been getting emails and I've been getting comments on certain videos where, guys will hit me up and they'll say, hey, Mr. Locario, I'm confused because one minute you said to do this and then the next minute you say to do that. And it sounds like you're contradicting yourself because if you're saying to do this, then how can you do this and then do that and all this other stuff, right? Now, what happens is that in the game, right, you have to understand, context. You have to understand, what situations you're in. And depending on what situation you're in, sometimes you're going to have to switch up what you're doing, right? And the thing is, the part of the game that really gets guys confused or even hurts their game is because they think that they have to do one thing the same way all the time, and then there's no other alternative, right? They think that, so like if I say, hey, you should do A and B, right? They're going to do A and B for everything, right? And then I might make a video and say, hey, sometimes you can do C, right? But then they're going to be like, Mr. Locario, I don't get it because you said do A and B. So why are you saying to do C? Doesn't that contradict you do A and B? And the thing is, sometimes you can do A, B, and C. You can do both, right? Because both can get you the results you want. But you have to decide, okay, well, in this situation, right, is, it better for me to do A and B, or is it better for me to do C, right? And the thing is that what happens is that sometimes when you hear one thing, you think that that's the only way to do it. So then you do that way all the time. And in certain situations, the situation might switch up and it might call for you to do something else. But if you're always looking to, do it the same way, then what's going to happen is that when that situation switches up, you're not going to have the success you want because that situation required you to switch up. Right. And this is why, I don't technically tell guys exactly what to say, because what happens is that when you tell someone exactly what to say, because I get guys all the time, can you just give me some pickup lines? Can you just tell me exactly what I need to do and say in every situation? And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. Right. Because the thing is that if I'm giving you what to say, you don't really work out your verbal muscles. You don't work out how to actually spit. You don't work out how to use your mouthpiece. You understand what I'm saying? And that is what you need, because in certain situations, you're going to have to switch up how you do stuff. Right? So when I tell you certain things, it's best practices to do it a certain way. But then there's going to be certain times where you're going to need to switch up in order to get a certain result. Right? So for example, let's say if, you were driving somewhere and somebody gave you directions and stuff, right? And you're supposed to get to a certain place. And let's say they said, okay, every time you see this blue sign, you understand, turn left. And then when you go, you're going to keep going straight. You're going to see another blue sign and you're going to turn left. Then you're going to see another thing and you're going to see a blue sign and you're going to turn left right now. So now let's say in one of those times where you're supposed to turn left, there was a dead end, right? So now you thinking, okay, well, I got to keep turning left and then go straight. If you go straight into that dead end, you're going to crash your car, right? So the thing is that in that situation, there was a wall there that stopped you from going further, right? So now you have to switch it up and find another way to get to your destination, right? Because things get thrown in and then you're going to have to switch it up. You can't just keep going that same way just because this is how you've been always doing it. You understand? This is, you can't keep saying the same thing and doing the same things just because you think this is the rule. This is the law. No, the thing is that when it comes to the game, it's about you knowing how to maneuver in any situation, which takes practice, which is why I say you have to work on your verbal skills. You got to work on how you come at this. You understand what I'm saying? It's kind of like, let's say if you were, another example, I'm just throwing shit out there. Let's say you were at a street fair and you were selling burgers and shit, right? And you're selling with somebody, and that person says, yo, I noticed that every time when the person passes by, if you say, hey, try our burgers and you'll get a free drink, they come through and they, buy the burger and get the drink, right? So now you going up to people, hey, try our burgers, you get a free drink. And then the person comes through and they buy the, hey, try our burgers, you get a free drink. So you keep saying that same shit and it's working, right? Now, next thing you know, let's say, you see a group of people, a group of 5 people walking by, you say, hey, try our burgers and get a free drink, right? And the person's like, oh, well, I'm actually a vegetarian, so I don't really eat burgers, right? And so now you saying that didn't work. Now, let's say you still like you have a goal to just sell this amount of burgers that day. So you're like, but I really want to sell these burgers to this person, even though they don't eat burgers. So then you might say, oh, well, does one of your friends eat burgers? You understand? And then they might say, oh, well, this guy right here with me, he eats burgers. Okay, cool. How about you buy him a burger, right? So you went from just saying, hey, try our burgers, get a free drink, try our burgers, get a free drink, try our burgers, get a free drink. Now you had to switch it up and say, oh, by the way, okay, you don't eat burgers. Okay, what about your friend? Right? Now you had to add in what about your friend in order to get that sale. You had to switch it up to accomplish the goal that you were trying to get. Right? You're not going to just keep saying, hey, well, why don't you just get a burger and try this drink? The dude doesn't eat burgers, so now you have to find a different way to sell that burger. You understand what I'm saying? So the thing is that you get the best practices, you get the ways that it will work out for you in certain situations, right? And then you continue to do that if it's working. Now there's going to be times where it's not going to work, and then you're going to have to switch it up. Right? And the thing also, another thing too, is where sometimes things might sound contradictory is because the game evolves. So sometimes, what works today might not work 5 years from now, or what works today probably, wouldn't have worked before, whatever it was. You understand what I'm saying? So you might hear a video or see a video of me saying something, 4 years ago that doesn't really technically apply now, or there's a better way to do it now. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is why, you might hear something that's old, and then you'll hear something that's new. And what I'm saying might sound like it's contradicting that old stuff, but it's because the game has evolved. Right? So that's another thing. And also sometimes, like I was saying, where, you can do A, B, and C, right? What happens is you got to get out that mind frame of thinking. If I say, hey, do A, B, and do A and B, do A and B, and do A and B, you got to get out that mind frame of thinking that that's the only way to do it, because you can also do C. By me saying do A and B, that's not me saying at the same time C doesn't work. Do you understand what I'm saying? C can also work, but I'm just saying do A and B because that might be easier for you. You understand? But C can also work, so you can do both. It's like me saying, you don't have to go to college to get a good job, right? You can get a good job without going to college, right? So by me saying that statement, that's not me also saying at the same time that going to college isn't going to work, because going to college and getting a degree could help you get a good job, right? But I'm also saying that you don't have to do it, right? Because I had a video where I was saying that, where I think it was the video called, it's called Getting Her Number Isn't Enough. And I had a dude hit me up in the comments, and he was like, yo, I'm kind of confused because, in the video I was basically saying that there was a video of these guys just running up on girls and, getting their numbers and saying, hey, put your number in my phone, put your number in my phone. And in the video titled Getting Her Number Isn't Enough, which I did, I was saying that, sometimes, it's good to go up to the chick, talk to her for maybe 2 minutes, and then get her number, because in certain cases, if you have the dialogue, she'll remember you, right? So he's saying, hey, but isn't that like building rapport? And then he was saying, Mr. Lucario, you had a video where you said you don't have to build rapport to get women. So I'm confused, because in one video you're saying you don't have to do that, and in this video you're saying that you should sort of build rapport or talk to the girl. Now, one thing is that if you're talking to a girl for 2 minutes or whatever, it's not necessarily building rapport. You don't really, depends on what you're talking about. But let's say you are building rapport in those 2 minutes, right? Again, by me saying you don't have to build rapport to get women is not saying at the same time that building rapport to get women isn't going to work, because you could build rapport with women and it can still work. So again, you can do both. You can do A and B and also C, right? But you choose what's best for you in that situation, right? And another thing too is like, when it comes to the game, you have to be aware of what's, really going on in the situation and how to maneuver in a situation to get the best results for you, because you can't be too strict in the rules that you're following in the game. Do you understand? Because there's going to be some times where, because like, for example, you might have a rule of saying, oh, well, don't buy chicks drinks. You understand? But there might be a situation that you're in where, let's say you're talking to a girl and you're having a good time. Y'all been talking for an hour or so. Let's say she already had a drink. You had a drink. Y'all both sitting at the bar. Your drinks are done. And you're sort of getting flirty and everything. At that point, it wouldn't be a big deal if you got another drink and bought her a drink, because she's already showing interest. Y'all probably been kissing already. Now, in that context, in that situation, you switched up and did, that different thing, right? But even though the rule is, hey, don't buy chicks drinks that you just met or whatever, or don't buy a chick a drink to try to get with her and all this other stuff. In this specific context where everything is flowing smoothly and she's already showing that interest and she's already got her tongue in your mouth, it doesn't fucking matter. So you can, do that thing. You can basically bend that rule in that situation. So the thing is, I don't want you guys to, get it in your head where it's only this one size fits all. It has to be this rigid thing every time you do it, because that's going to confuse you. You have to understand when's the best time to do this, or when's the best time to do that. And again, this is why I said I don't like to feed dudes lines, because I swear I always get this all the time. Yo, could you just tell me exactly what to do? Or dudes, I will give an example of certain things, and dudes will take that example and say it word for word to every chick in every situation, and it just doesn't fit that way. It doesn't work that way. You understand? And, you have to know, how to like switch up your shit. And also you got to know what's really going on in the situation, because I got another email from a dude who, there was a video I did called Persistence versus Harassment. And in the video I was talking about, because somebody asked me what's the difference between being persistent and how does that correlate to it seeming like you're harassing a chick, right? So I was basically saying, you can be persistent of trying to get at a girl, but then once she says no, and once she shows that she's not interested in you, right, then, call it a day. Because if she says no, like let's say you say, give me your number, and she's like, nah, I'm good, and then you keep trying to get her number, then it can be seen as harassment, right? So I had a dude, he hit me up and he was like, oh, but in your video you were saying, if a chick says no to you, then you shouldn't keep going. And then he said that in another video I said something where a chick said she doesn't date black guys, where a chick I was talking to or something like that says she doesn't date black guys, and he was saying, isn't that sort of like a no? And what he said was, in the video I was like, oh, I still hollered at her even though she said she doesn't date black guys, right? And this is what I said, you got to sort of see what's going on and also know how to maneuver in certain situations. Because her saying, and I think this was online, if I remember correctly, I think I was online and I messaged the chick, and then she messaged me back saying she doesn't date black guys or whatever. And so my response to her was, oh, cool. Well, do you have sex with black guys, right? So, I think that was my response. So something like that. So it wasn't like I was, it wasn't like she said, it wasn't like I said, hey, give me your number. She said no, or let me go on a date with you, or let's go on a date. And she said no. Like, she didn't say no to anything, right? I said something like, hey, what's up? What are you doing this weekend or whatever? Or some shit I probably wrote as my first message. And then she writes, oh, I don't date black guys. And then so now I'm just responding to, or I'm asking a question based off of her response. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so what I mean by understanding what's going on is you have to understand that in certain situations, right? You need to, you can know how to respond in a certain way to where you can keep something going and further investigate to see if you can make something happen, right? Because a girl saying, "Oh, I don't date black guys," is not the same thing as her saying no to you. Do you understand? Because it's totally not the same thing. Her saying, "I don't date black guys," that's something you can actually build up on to have a conversation with, to actually and see where it goes if you want to. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I necessarily didn't need to do that, but I was like, oh, let me just play around with this chick just to see what's going on, right? So what I'm saying is, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I actually got with that chick. If I'm not mistaken, I got there's so much shit that happens, I can't even remember all this stuff, but if I'm not mistaken, I think I got with that chick. But what I'm saying is that once you become better at the game, once you become better at talking to women and practicing this stuff, right, you'll be able to know how to maneuver in those situations and understand the difference between, a chick actually saying no and you knowing how to maneuver your dialogue and know how to move the conversation in a certain way to sort of get a certain result. Because when a chick says no, it's like, okay, well, or she rejects you outright like that, like, oh no, I'm not interested, or no, I don't want to go out with you, or no, this is not happening. At that point, it's a definite no, right? But the thing is, her saying I don't date black dudes is not necessarily her saying no. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the thing is, you could take it like that if you wanted to and then keep it moving. There's nothing wrong with that also. But like in that situation, it was room for me to play around with that to keep the conversation going if I wanted to see where it could go. Do you understand what I'm saying? Which is why I responded, oh, well, do you have sex with black guys? Right? So the thing is, understanding of, how to do that, because most guys probably wouldn't even have responded that way. You understand? Or even thought to respond that way. And the reason why they wouldn't have thought to respond that way or do it that way is because they haven't had practice being quick on their feet to respond to certain things like that, or being witty, or being, having that banter. You understand what I'm saying? And that comes with practice. And this is why I say that you can't just look at the game this one way and this one size fits all thing, because if you are so rigid in how you respond, then you're not training your brain to know how to think quicker and to, do certain things in certain situations when a curveball is thrown at you. You understand? Because now all you're thinking about is the 4 or 5 lines to say to girls to start a conversation. You're thinking about the 2 comebacks that you've been practicing in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all you've been doing. But if you know how to, go back and forth, then it's you come out with better game. Basically, you come out with better verbal skills. You know how to go back and forth with a chick in order to move a conversation in a certain way, in order to lead the conversation in a direction to where you wanted to go. Again, this is why I don't feed guys lines, because when I feed you a line, or I tell you, oh, just say this, say that, it doesn't work out your mental abilities to be able to come up with certain things in order to say, right? So I give you sort of like a blueprint of what can happen, or the types of things you can do, but I'm not giving you exactly what to say, because what's going to happen is that if I do that, it's really not helping you. So for example, I can say, there's 2 ways you could come at a girl: indirect or direct. So this is me giving you the fundamentals. So I say, you know what? An indirect way is to, talk about something in the situation to start the conversation, right? And the direct way is you basically blatantly telling her that you're into her, right? So that's what I'm giving you. And then you have to fill it in with your own shit. You understand? But the reason why a lot of you guys are confused is because when I say, hey, an indirect way is to talk about something in a situation. And then what happens is I give you an example and I say, yeah, so if you're standing at a bus stop or you're walking towards a bus stop and you see a chick standing there and, you can say to her, hey, how long you been waiting for this bus? Right. And then next thing you know, dudes will take that line, hey, how long have you been waiting for this bus? And then try to use that. And to the point where they'll use that even in a context where it doesn't even make sense. I've heard dudes do this. I've had dudes email me, tell me they do this. And I'm like, why would you? That doesn't make sense. This guy said he was in a train. He asked her, how long are you waiting for this bus? Or how long have you been waiting for this? That's what I'm saying. Yo, you can't do that. Like, what are you talking about? That's what I'm saying. I'm giving you the fundamentals. So you use the situation. That's all you need to know. Use the situation to your advantage and talk about some of the situation. So instead of that guy talking about a damn bus, you need to be like, oh, how long have you been waiting for this train? You understand? Like in that, because you're actually in a train. There ain't no buses coming. What the hell are you talking about a bus? But this is what I'm saying. You got guys out here who they're being so lazy. They just listen to and like, oh, what can I say? What's the line? Because I think women are damn computers, and you just put in the cheat code, and then that's what's gonna make shit happen. No, you have to work on your goddamn self. You have to work on your shit in order to make it happen. And if you don't, you're going to get confused. Because the more that you work on yourself and all this other stuff, it's not going to be confusing to you, because what you're hearing is going to make more sense, because you're going to know that you need to be the person to fill in the blanks. You need to be the person that works on himself to become quick at, going back and forth with a chick. Right. So when you hear me say something and you hear the actual, guideline of it, you say, okay, cool. So an indirect way is to talk about something in a situation. So whenever you're in any situation, you start to think, oh, cool. What can I say in this situation? What can I use in this situation to start the conversation? So you at a party, you see a girl with a really cool hat. Oh, that's a really cool hat. Where'd you get that hat from? Oh, I got it from Macy's. It was on sale, blah, blah, blah. And then now you're having this conversation. At that point, you shouldn't even be thinking about anything. You should be taking what she's saying and doing and being able to go back and forth based off of that. You shouldn't be like, oh, but okay, I said something about her hat. Now, what did Mr. Locario say about the next thing to say after you introduce it? Stop. You understand what I'm saying? Like, oh my goodness, man. This is what I'm saying. And this is why a lot of you guys get confused, because you are literally taking, these lines or these examples, and you're trying to use it for every situation, not knowing that sometimes you're going to have to switch it up, not knowing that just, me or anybody else saying, hey, do it this way does not necessarily mean doing it the other way is wrong. That's not what we're saying. We're saying, hey, this way might be easier, or this way might be better for this situation. You understand? So that's all I wanted to say for today, guys. If you have any more questions, make sure you click the link below, and I will holler at you guys later. Remember, the truth is inside you. Peace. I'm gone. All right, now before you click off this video, I need you to do 3 quick things. First, I need you to click the link below to send me your questions, because if you have any questions, I'll answer them in a video. 2, click the link under that to get my free ebook, The Magnificent 10 Crucial Dating Tips for Men. It gives you 10 tips on how to attract beautiful women. And number 3, I want you to click the link under that to go to badboymembership.com, where you get 45 through 90-minute audio and video tutorials every month. Hey, what's up? It's dating and life coach Mr. Locario. Go to badboymembership.com and master the dating game by joining my Bad Boy Membership program. In this program, you'll receive 45 through 90-minute, easy to follow, step-by-step dating advice tutorials that's guaranteed to help you attract date, and have sex with beautiful women. Join the Bad Boy membership today by going to badboymembership.com. That's badboymembership.com.